Hello friends, William Newell here. And I remember having a conversation with someone once, a man who was visiting our province on holiday. And I remember him telling me that we had one of the most amazing coastlines anywhere in the world. He had travelled from Newry to Londonderry, and he told me how incredible it was, that the road hugged the coastline virtually the whole way. And it is actually true. I have done it all myself, although not all at once, of course. And I'm on the road again, back up the Antrim coast, but stopping off at a place I haven't been to in years, Torr Head. It was a really fine day, constant sunshine and great visibility, but having to walk up to the summit is quite a climb. But what a view! Just now we are looking north, and the last great outcrop that we see here in the picture is Firr Head. Firr Head rises 600 feet above sea level and is indeed Northern Ireland's tallest and most impressive cliff face. To the right of that is Wrathlon Island, also clearly visible in the picture. I have to admit though, I have never been to Wrathlon, so it's one for the bucket list. But in the meanwhile, we'll have a good look around here. There's a little building at Torr Head which I'm told used to be a small lookout station. These are the steps up to the roof, and it's all a bit precarious, but it appears to be safe enough. And I'm hoping the roof up here that it will offer unobstructed views in every direction. And it's certainly not a disappointment. It's great for filming, and I'm obviously not the only one who thinks so. That's Scotland across there in the distance. It's just 12 miles across as the gull flies, but if you went by car it would be a journey of 300 miles. And the sea out there, I'm told it has one of the most treacherous currents anywhere. So unless I can fly, I'll opt for the 300 miles by car. But that's for another occasion. And just for today, I'm going to enjoy all there is up at Torr Head before heading back down the Antrim coast. We are coming back down the Antrim coast towards Carnlough, and we'll soon be passing Redcastle. That's the rather imposing ruin that sits on the top of the hill overlooking Waterfoot. And we'll stop for a while there on the beach. In the meanwhile, let me read to you from Psalm 95. O come, let us sing to the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come into his presence with thanksgiving. Let us make a joyful noise to him with songs of praise. For the Lord is a great God and a great King above all gods. In his hands are the depths of the earth. The heights of the mountain are his also. The sea is his, for he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. O come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, and the sheep of his hand. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as at Meribah, as on the day of Massah in the wilderness, when your fathers put me to the test, and put me to the proof, though they had seen my work. For 40 years I loathed that generation, and said, they are a people who go astray in their heart, and they have not known my ways. Therefore I swore in my wrath, they shall not enter my rest. Amen. This is the word of the Lord. Psalm 95. There's a verse in that psalm and it reads, Today if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart. Now the setting for that verse is found in the wilderness, when God brought the children of Israel out of slavery in the land of Egypt and was leading them into the promised land. The journey was quite a short one, across the wilderness and straight into the land of Canaan. But it ended up a very long journey, and it took them 40 years. This was because the children of Israel were continually rebelling against God and doing all the things God didn't want them to do. For them, the promised land was so near and yet so far away. And in fact, none of them actually entered it. You know, I thought of that as I looked from Torhead towards Scotland. The coast of Scotland, it's so close at that point, just 12 miles, and yet it is so far. You know, you can be close to something and yet far away at the same time. That's the way it was for the children of Israel. And God says to us, take note of what happened to the children of Israel, and do not harden your heart against me, or you may never enjoy the things that I have prepared for you. So here's the question. How do we harden our hearts against God? Well, there can be hostility and opposition to God. Or on the other hand, it can simply be that we know all about God, but we become so familiar with the story that it no longer has any effect on us. We know we must respond to his call and his love, but we never get around to it, and that way our hearts become hardened to him. And yet we cannot avoid his voice. We see it in nature and in the wonder of creation, in the beauty of the world around us, and yet give no regard to the great Creator, the one who made us, the one who loves us, and the one who gave us his Son to die for us. And when we ignore that, we are at serious risk that our hearts will become hardened. In that way, we can be so close to receiving his blessing and yet so far away. And some will lose out completely for all eternity. And yet, they were so close. He wants us to respond to him and follow him, and be obedient to his word and receive his blessing. You know, friends, we're going to finish off our day in Carnlough. It's very peaceful, and the sea is like a mill pond. We'll stop here. Our closing prayer, it's from Psalm 96. Say among the nations, the Lord reigns. Yes, the world is established, it shall never be moved. He will judge the peoples with equity. Let the heavens be glad, and let the earth rejoice. Let the sea roar, and all that fills it. Let the field exult, and everything in it. Then shall all the trees of the forest sing for joy before the Lord. For he comes to judge the earth. He will judge the world in righteousness, and the peoples in his faithfulness. Amen. This is the word of the Lord.